Well, let's get back out here. Vinyl Village Garage, John Carr. What we're working on doing is final fit test fitting, or I guess say test fitting our quarter panel. New frame rails, new trunk floor, new main floor, new rocker panels, new doors. There's not much left that's original to this car. So keep that in mind when test fitting all this stuff. That's why it's so vital that I've actually got this car basically just put together with self-tapping screws at this point, minus the rocker panels and the main floor pan. So I could actually pull out that trunk floor, the rear frame rails back loose from the car, and take a peek down inside there and see what's going on. So, but I don't put it all together permanently because we're using aftermarket panels that were stamped someplace other than here. And even if they're the original stamping, you still have to manipulate, massage, and make the stuff work. So we're going to work on doing it. They test fitting that quarter panel in here. So this is a quick little recap for those that have just maybe stopped in here for the very first time. New floor pan, new rocker panels, you can see there. Now, you'll see screw, bunch of screws, even the trunk floor, just screwed, very strategically placed, so to speak, just to hold things in place during test fitting. So that's what we're going to get in here today. I'm going to work on putting this together. Now, these wheelhouses in and out, there's several theories on how this could be done. Share with you what my thoughts are, and you can take away from it what you wish or desire. But you have an inner and an outer. Now, you can buy these pre-assembled. I've never done that. I've always bought them in pieces, and in the past, I've installed the inner first, and then the outer, and then lined them all up, and it seems to work pretty good. The advantage of leaving the outer slightly loose or adjustable is, let's say your quarter panel isn't quite going like you hoped, you get a little more adjustability so you can move or take that loose and move the quarter panel around. I see a lot of people do it that way, and it seems to work, but I've learned now that I can go ahead and pre-assemble these, inner and outer. You have these holes. I put a screwdriver through them, fits real snug in the hole. There's all three of them. Then I screw it together. Now the problem is you can't leave the screws in it because it won't fit up into here. So what I do then, once I've got it screwed together, I'm happy with the fitment, just little tiny, you can see it in the camera, little tiny spot welds in case I need to take it back apart. That way I'm not committed. Now I can take these screws out, the part where it lays up into here, and I can test fit it and then leave the rest of the screws in place. Then you see this little note here, it says bend out, as you can translate my writing. What you do once it's all welded on a converter, you gotta fold this lip over. I've got it marked here, clear back to here. So, but for the time being, I don't need to worry about doing that again in case I need to move stuff around. So I want to take these front screws out, lift this fender well up into place, and we're going to use this little hole here and the one we pre-drilled from the previous videos. If you didn't do that, oh man, you're in trouble now. Pre-drilled the same hole, same thing. We're going to take our screwdriver, shove through the hole or alignment pin or whatever you can use to align the panels. And we're going to shove it through the hole, index that. Index this, position it in place. It seems to work really good. That quarter skin or quarter panel should slide right on. Okay. Screws are moved out of the front. Now, typically we're going to kind of tuck the front edge into here first. Now that's going to snag all these little pieces of the quarter panel, rocker panel, but it's just part of the nature of the beast. We got to slide it in on this side here, then hopefully flip it up into place. And again, this is what I like to use for my alignment pin. It's just those quarter drive socket driver things. It's about the right dimension. It slides right through the hole here on the panel and down here. Okay. That edge is a little bit bent and I can't find it. Ooh, we got a ways to go. We're getting close. Let me show you here. What I'm trying to do is clock this hole here, and it looks like I've got it lined up now. It wasn't going there at first, but now I've got it lined up. So what we'll do, again, my alignment pin, not super high tech, but it really seems to work. There we go. Oops, let me show you there. Now that's locked in. Now we're down too low in the back because our hole here is definitely not lining up. I need to bring the back side up, which will close up this gap here. Do the same thing. We're going to take my little alignment pin, screwdriver handle, stab it through this one, that one. You can see the picture isn't right, so we got to push it up quite a bit. That's exactly what I intend to do. So give that a little push there. And there is a gap between here. These shouldn't be touching together. It's about, ½ inch or so. It's not an exact science, but there we go. Now I got to clamp that thing into place. Put a few screws in it. I should be okay. I'm gonna clamp. Can't see it, but I'm gonna take one of these clamps down inside the fender well here. Okay, that's a whole lot better. Now, you see this whole thing's moving as I pry on it. So I'm gonna find a way to drop a screw through this while this is horizontal to the floor. Let me get that ready. Check my gap, yep. There we go, look at that. Okay, that'll work. Just so you can see the big picture, right? Put a pair of vice grips there, pulls all three of these layers together, the wheel well, inner and outer, it's trunk floor. And then I got the one you saw in the video, clamped it there, put a screw there in the front to kind of help pull up the gap. It was a little wider here than I anticipated. That's kind of normal, unfortunately. And then I put a screw here on our hinge support. It goes right here below our trunk. Again, I was watching it as I tightened that down to make sure that my trunk elevation didn't change. It stayed the same, and my gap stayed the same. So I'm going to call that good. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how that is going to look on here. That's going to tell us more of the story of how good or how bad we've done so far. I should be able to slide up into place. But before I do that, I'm going to take a couple measurements, like find a mirroring point, like this little notch here, to straight down to the floor. Make sure we're the same. I know my height here to the floor is the same because I'm using my scissor jack there from the other side. But regardless of that, it's about right at 10 inches from the center line of that bolt hole to the trunk floor. Get you really close. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the measurements here each side. Make sure we're the right height from the floor. And if that's the case, we're going to test fit a quarter panel. Oh, yeah. Let's see about getting down here. Now what I'm going to do, try to find something I can relate, like I said, side to side. There's a little rectangular notch, kind of sort of the same here on this side. I'm going to go to the inside, straight down to the trunk floor, or I should say the outside of that little notch. And straight down to the trunk floor. Just under 15, like 14 and, let's call it 7/8. I'm going to say anything here to this side. Looks like 14 3/4, so 1/8 inch difference. I'm within the Vinyl Village garage spec, so I'm going to let that ride. Trunk deck still aligning well, still aligning to my center point. Everything back there is looking pretty good, so I don't see why we can't go ahead and test fit that quarter panel in the car and see how good OER or how bad they are. And we'll let you know here in just a moment. Okay. All right, now remember, boys and girls, this is just a test fit. This isn't final. This for us isn't going to be left like that. I just want to make sure it's going to be working right or fitting like I hope it does before I get too carried away in case we're going to cut this all apart. But in order to put this on, you got to hook this first. So I'm going to take this edge of the quarter panel, hook it over that, drop the bottom over, and then try to push it back up into place. It's kind of a shelf that rides on being a convertible. Then I have to stab this section underneath that there. So this ought to be a little bit fun. Ta-da, just like that, right? I wish. it to fit in there. Let me do that first. Now, I've talked about this before, but I actually forgot because I got too excited. This material is too wide for the gutter. It needs to be a whole lot less than it is. So I need to, this here is about the width it needs to be. You can see it's actually significantly skinnier. So I need to trim just this down a little bit all around that radius there. That way when I go to put it in the trunk gutter, it'll slide in front. If not, it's gonna bottom out against this. I won't be able to close up my trunk gap and I won't get an accurate, I guess, feel for whether I've got this trunk set up right or not. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this back. That's what I'm gonna be doing next. Then we'll try to test fit it once again.
Yeah, he's restored a Pontiac or two, and he's been known to drink a big orange stew.
Round two. Try that again. Got this to kind of help the guy that underneath her as needed. Okay. Get a ratchet strap and go around and kind of help pull it together. What I've done is I hooked the other side of the quarter panel in the wheel well, and I hope to do the same here on this side. As soon as I untangle this thing, and use it to help pull it and pull it into place. I don't want to get too carried away here, but now, I mean, hopefully the camera picks this up, but I've got a gap here that I'm trying to close up. See if I can actually get that in here a little better. Okay, you can see a little bit of a gap between the two panels here. It just doesn't want to quite go. So we're going to use this to help pull it into place. And then while I'm working it, I got to work on keeping this tucked underneath that piece there. Show you what that looks like. Let me show you where we're at so far. This pulled up tight here. Now the both panels are laying at about the same elevation. That's good. Now obviously the ratchet strap's putting a little bit of attention on the whole sides, and what I'm looking at right here, as my notes say, 1 3/8. That ain't no 1 3/8, kids. That's not even close. It's probably about 1 inch. Man, look at that. My calibrated eye must be on it today. That ain't gonna fly. I think what's going on though is I have enough tension pulled on here. That's what's pulling the whole side of the car in. So I think I'll put 2 screws here, or 1, maybe just 1. And then I'll let this relax if it pops back out. Because I'm trying to get, even this won't tuck back in. It wants to kind of spring out. So I think I need to, I think forward and back is good. Our gap back here isn't great yet, but I can push this quarter panel in some. So I'm thinking, I think I need to go ahead and drop a screw there in the middle. Hold that in place, and then we'll see if we can't close up this gap. Okay, well this loosens, hopefully that recovers. Ooh, I didn't move any. Yeah, it actually. Here we go. With the ratchet strap out of the way, it actually opened up the gap a little bit. Now I'm still a little short. Now we're not at 1 inch anymore. We're like 1 3/16, so I'm like a 1/16 of an inch shy. But something I'm making an observation on is this lip that the seal rides on. If I were to try to get the camera straight up and down, here we go. That there straightened up. You see how this is actually kind of kicked in? I need to bend that flange. The body line is fine, but I need to bend the flange that way some more. It's kind of hard to do it while the quarter's back on, so I'm going to make myself a little note. That's why the marker's sitting here. We're going to use the phrase over brake. What I'm going to do when I get this off, I'm going to basically from here to here bend that flange in further. That way when I assemble this car, and you see how it's actually closing up the gap. I got my gap up top. By the time I get down here, it's going to be a little too tight for that glass and the seals to ride, so it's kind of hard to see being as black. So that's things we're making notes. All right, we're going to test fit it. So we're going to take it back apart. Now I'm going to work on now, see if I can get this door jammed to actually kind of get into place. Then I'll show you how the door gap looks. Now what I'm going to do, you've seen me do this before, but see how my quarter skin is hanging out way further than the end of the structure, and I try to push on it, it just keeps bouncing back. I got a little trick that I'm going to show you here right now. What we do, we take these wider style vice grips. I'll be able to close the gap this way, then I got to drive the panel that way. So I'll clamp it. It's going to be snug, or a little tighter maybe. Now see how this works. Now, that's probably going to make the camera go nuts, but we'll find out here. That closed up quite a bit, but I still got to go just a little bit further. And if I let this go, you'll see how much it'll pop back. This is how much it's moved. See how it sticks way out now? So I'll go ahead and clamp it again. See if I can't get it to go a little further. A little tighter on the clamp this time. That's better. There we go, look at that. All right, now I'll put a screw through that. No, I guess I should clarify. What I did, well, I put one more vice grip down here to hold it. Now the two panels are lining up flush. Now, put a screw through that and we'll see how this door jamb lines up. I'm gonna try to do this in real time so you can really see what I'm doing. Moment of truth, kids. Wow. Not bad. That looks better. So far, I give this, so maybe a A minus. Looks good. Body line is pretty much there. I mean, I don't have a piece of tape on it, but it's looking pretty good. That bottom body line is cool, but the bottom of the quarter panel is still kind of sticking out. I have to put something in here that even lines up great with the rocker panel. Yeah, that nice gap. I think what I can do, it pushes in. I'm gonna put a screw here in this bottom corner, see if I can't draw that quarter panel in, see if it'll line up a little better. Because right now the door's looking great. Top to bottom, nice and even. Except for there, you can see how it's kicking out. So I'm gonna try to put a screw there in the bottom, see if that closes out. There we go. Drop the screw down here in the corner. It pulled up real nice here to the rocker panel. Actually feels pretty good. Almost, maybe I thought it might have been too far, but that's a whole lot more gooder. Now we'll shut our door, line it up. Yeah, this is just our trial fit, but look at that. Significantly better. I got a little bit of the corner of the door. Let go over there. I'm gonna probably hammer that corner of the door out just a little bit. But man, the rest of it, line up really good. So, probably my frame rail elevation is probably fine. I don't need to close up this gap any. So I'm gonna call that okay. Top of the door, yeah. I like it. Now I need to work my way back here to the back. Now what I did also do, put our vice grips right here. I can't quite get the quarter panel to go all the way in. I'm hitting something behind here. So I need to make myself another note with my silver marker, investigate why that won't seat all the way. I've got This is great. It lines up with our rocker panel. Fantastic. I just got to get it to push back further, but it's hitting something solid. So I suspect something on our inner wheel well is kicking my butt. So I need to make myself a note. I want to stand back just a little bit to admire what's going on here. Again, I can't complain about that fitment. I like the door jamb gap. My body line, really close. I'm going to have to do some super fine tuning, but the doors line up nice. Rocker panel looks great. So I think we just keep working our way back like I just mentioned. Now, this is what you see here. This is my little, that's how I kind of slide like a shoehorn. Get the thing to slide underneath as I'm assembling it. Really kind of need to see if I can bump that back any. I may not be able to since I got all this all assembled, but this isn't looking horrible. Now, I assure you, dang, actually it looks a little better than I thought it was going to look. Huh. I checked it a couple minutes ago, and it wasn't even close. I didn't do anything back here yet. All I did was kind of smack the front around. So, wow. Trunk deck is lining up with the quarter panel. I don't think I need to manipulate that. Now, I anticipated this corner needs a little bit of massaging. Not a huge surprise. I mean, I don't care what brand you buy. You typically run into something like that. I was talking about before. That's why I had to trim this back so it could tuck up inside there, but I may have trimmed it back further than I needed to. Just doing the eyeball thing. Here was a must, because I'm already up tight against that. If I wouldn't have trimmed that back, this gap would have been horrible. So, yeah, it looks pretty good. I do remember now on cars in the past, this radius isn't 100% because my gap between the gutter and here is atrocious. So I really probably need to do is actually slice this and then close up the gap. The gutter inside is the same. This is factory. So I need to probably slice it here and then move the quarter panel in and then actually close up the gap so the weather stripping sits in there nice. So I'll probably have to splice it. But it's looking like the gap, though, it's pretty good. I could probably close it up here a little bit, but not much. I might be able to just kind of, I'll probably just get a ratchet strap or something. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to work on trying to close up this gap just a little bit. If you can tell, I should get wow, it's a little more than 3/16. I need to bring it in some. Now, I trimmed this back just a little too far because I eyeballed it. Oops, anyway. That line should be a little bit closer. That's not because this gap is too big. It's because I cut this back too far. So maybe should remove the lead, but I didn't have my torch. Didn't want to slow down having too much fun. But last but not least, I think we're going to try to bump this gap shut. But I'm just going to give it a good shove and see what happens here. So let's just see if we get lucky. Get you set up there. Now, I'm just going to lean on it here. I tried pushing on it before. I didn't want to go. Oh, nope. Hey, whoa, okay. Yeah, that closed it up too much. I need to probably drop something in here, a screw, and then pull this bottom back out, because look at the gap. I closed it up way too much, but the good news is it moved. See what it did to the tail panel? I left this as a remnant for a test fitting. It bowed it out. So I think what I'll do, like I said, I'll drop a screw in here. It'll kind of work like a pivot. I'll pop this back out. And I bet you we'll get this looking really nice. See if that, nope, that stayed pretty nice. Looks pretty good. Now I guess I'm gonna try to bump this side back out. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. May need the trunk liner. Let me go find that. I want to bump on this edge, but I don't want to hit that with a hammer. So back the trunk liner. This thing's a super handy tool. I'm gonna have to patent this and sell it. Tail panel pop back into place. Cut that gap in half. See how easy that was? Yeah, I think I'll drop a screw in this to keep it from moving around. Yeah, that didn't work. get that stud. Okay, make sure everything didn't move all around there. That looks good. Problem was I went to put the screw in and the gutter is so rusted away that it just pushed down instead of tightened up. We'll try here. Or maybe not. There we go. Let's see. Wow. Okay. Better than factory. Well, I guess we'll take in all that. That looks pretty good now. That gap is nice and even all around. Still have a little distortion here in this corner, but the top edge here just barely hanging over. And I don't know how to just shift this back. That might just be how it was stamped. So I don't think there's much I can do. So one modification, I think I can live with that. Normally you're fine-tuning some more of the trunk area here. So I'm actually not going to complain at all. I can live with that. I was warned this is going to be bad. That's not bad. I'm actually very happy with that. So, there you go. Quarter panel test fitted. Got to do some manipulation there. Over bend this here. Over brake that there. Door jamb area. I don't think I'm going to have any problem at all whatsoever. Lines up beautifully. I like it. And then even the door gap. I can't complain. This is all aftermarket sheet metal. I didn't do any manipulating besides putting it together here in the garage. You saw it, how it all went together. Some of it's luck, some of it's skill, but that's why it's so important, the whole process, starting from here, checking your center line, checking everything's level. You got our datum line, our virtual floor. That brings up a good point. I need to measure this corner to the floor and refer it to the other side, because I'm going to let you in a little secret. I've already done this side. It looks really nice too. But I want to check this corner in relationship to that corner, and if they're spot on, man, I can't complain. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and rest that tape measure right there. Grab that thing right there. That center of that body line looks to be, on a tape measure just twisted on me, just under 30 and a half. We'll go over here, ignore my mess. And we'll do the same thing. Tape measure on there. Just over 30 and a half. So, need to bring up that side like a 1/16 of an inch. But I'll tell you what, that's not bad. Ta-da, there you have it. Look at this. It looks like a car again. Looking very good. I am super ecstatic about that door jamb gap. I was anticipating where you get that, where it's too wide at the top and gets narrow at the bottom, or vice versa, it's touching at the top and is okay at the bottom. Not the case this time, but if you do have that scenario, the gap is closed, drop the frame rails down more than a ½ inch, a little bit at a time. Get both sides to this point. Make sure both are looking like that, where both touching or both gapped. And then you drop the frame rails down, it'll kind of pull the car down before you weld it. But don't put a whole bunch of screws or support in it. That's why you want it to kind of flex a little bit. This is our test fitting stage. That's why this is important. But then if the gap was too wide, you lift it up. So you kind of get the idea. Didn't have to this time. Loving it. So I want to give these OER 1968 convertible full quarter panels. And I know they have some little things here in that corner. Man, that's like an A, almost an A+. Can't complain. I'm going to be doing a lot more modifications to the door jamb opening, trunk jamb opening. I still have yet to do the tail panel, so it may have a little hiccup back there, but I don't foresee that being a problem. If it is, and water under the bridge at this point, this looks fantastic. So again, appreciate the people who make these things repop, love them or hate them. It makes my life a lot easier putting this stuff on just like this. If you've seen, like I said, this video a little different, more like live action. I didn't do a whole lot of cutting out of the editing. I promise not to say any bad words. I've done pretty good. This thing didn't actually upset me at all. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I hope you see how this went together and why it's very important to start methodical. Only do a couple pieces at a time for you to have alignment, because I don't have a body jig, but look at the results here. It's possible. It does take a little more creativity, ingenuity, double checking measurements, dropping the tape measure to the floor, checking your datum line, plumb bob, center line. You get the idea, but you still can get desirable results on your shop floor as long as you plan ahead and, give yourself a little wiggle room. So far, so good. So now I guess next go around, I want to give myself the green light, you could say, to go ahead and weld in. You see the new side there on the driver's side, it's already done. I can start welding this all together. And you can see that actually assembling the inner and the outer wheel wells and putting it in works. I used to not do that. You'll see, you'll see other folks that do it differently. They put the inner in there, slide the outer, but leave it loose, get the quarter panel positioned. I've done the last 3 cars this way, welding them together, and it's actually worked out fine for me. So do what you want with that information, or someone else has said, take what you want and throw away the rest. Right way, wrong way, and the VVJ ways that I like to say it. So anyway, I'm gonna start working on some of this. Definitely get the camera, patching up that stuff, because you'll probably experience some of the same rust. And this is the perfect time to start working on your fab skills and all the pieces behind here, because you'll never see them again. They just need to be structurally sound. They don't gotta be perfect or beautiful matching the original, but gives you a chance to learn how to do some fab work. So that's what we're gonna get into the next few videos, patching those things up, getting it ready. Then we're gonna final assemble all the back half of this car, throw the tail panel on, and I have a reconditioned 1968 Firebird body shell all done here in a 2-car garage in front of your eyes. So anyway, ramble on enough. I gotta pack up. Look at this, the old transmitter right out there behind me, bleached out in the sun. I am going to be going to Firebird Fest. Actually, by the time this video comes out, probably been there and back, but it's a different story for a different day. So that was signing out for now. We'll catch you all next time.
And he's been known to drink a big orange dew. Just a working man trying to save the world, one Firebird at a time.